how to repair this massive hole in the Chernobyl nuclear plant's protective shield. That's the question Ukrainian officials are wrestling with more than 2 months after the steel structure was punctured, apparently by a Russian drone.
Their priority is how do they seal the building? And then they have to come up with a longer-term plan, which will be very extensive, very complicated, and potentially horrendously expensive.
Moscow denied it was behind the February 14th strike that caused fires to smolder for 3 weeks through the confinement shelter's membrane. Radiation levels outside have stayed normal, officials say. But sealing the hole hasn't been possible because it sits above the crumbling sarcophagus that encases the radioactive remains of a crippled reactor.
How can you fix a roof space where the higher you go up in the building, the higher the radiation levels? They're so high next to the actual sarcophagus that you can't work above it.
The confinement shield was completed in 2019 at a cost of $2.2 billion, with some 45 countries contributing. It was installed over Chernobyl's reactor number 4, where a safety test went wrong on April 26, 1986, and caused the world's worst civilian nuclear disaster.
В эфире радиожурнал «Советский Союз».
At the time, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty informed listeners behind the Iron Curtain about radioactivity spewing into the atmosphere.
It was clear that eastern winds brought a radioactive cloud from the Soviet Union.
Most of Chernobyl's workers lived in the neighboring city of Pripyat. Now a wasteland in the exclusion zone around the plant, RFERL's Ukrainian service recently visited the site of this once thriving community.
At the time of the Chernobyl accident, about 50,000 people lived here. All of them were evacuated, and now there is nothing in the city except abandoned buildings.
With Chernobyl's containment shield damaged, one of its key purposes has been lost. It was designed to safely dismantle the sarcophagus to allow the removal of radioactive ruins of the reactor.
There's like 4 tons of very fine radioactive dust inside.
The temporary rail track used to install the shield has since been dismantled, meaning the steel structure can't be moved safely to the side for repairs.
Of course, whether or not they can reinstall the rail system, move the shelter back, what does it actually mean to do repairs on that structure? It's a very, very serious, enormous challenge for Ukraine at a time when it's faced with so many other challenges.
The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has earmarked $450,000 to assess the drone damage.